Okay, let's talk about the semester project. Every course I do, I always have an opportunity for students to zero in on something they find super interesting. And we'll do that in this class as well. And you put together a semester project on that something. In this case, we're going to be focused in on combine testing. And there are a lot of different types of tests in different combines, NFL, NBA, soccer, what have you. Each combine test is tailored to that sport. And what I'm interested in is, as a sports scientist, knowing the science behind the different tests. And the science can be something related to the instruments. It could be related to the instructions given to the participants. It could be the science of the reliability and validity of the data, different processing techniques, and what have you. But and the science could be how well a test predicts future performance, or how well it predicts minimum risk of or minimizing the risk of injury. Could be a lot of different things, all right? But I want you to find your interest and zero in on that. So I put together a document, and let's go through that. Okay. Semester project guide. Connecting concepts, evidence-based use of combine testing. Again, you're the next generation of sports scientists, and I want you to always be thinking about the science connected with any measurement that we're taking, any instrument that we're using. You always want to be asking, is this valid? Is it reliable? How do I use it? What's the proper way to use it? I read a paper today on the validity of using a heart rate monitor, a specific heart rate monitor for swimming. It's not easy to do a lot of measurements in swimming because of the water, obviously. And so they tested out the validity of a particular device that was designed for swimming. And it actually turned out to be valid and a good instrument to use to measure heart rate during swimming. So that's useful information. And so same thing with this semester project. I want you to be thinking about the different combine tests that you may be interested in, but then what's the science behind it? What's the science of the instruments that we use to quantify the performance of the test? What's the use of the test itself and the data? All right. You're ultimately going to record a video presentation. I'm going to stick with this 3-minute time window I've used in other classes. And the reason I go with 3 minutes is because it's short. And what you have to do is you have to find the critical information to present in that time period. And so if I give you 20 minutes to do it, well, then you can present all different types of things. Sometimes it's not as focused of a presentation. Whereas if you're on a 3-minute window, you've got to really be figuring out what's the critical information that you need to put in that time period. Purpose, the goal of the semester project is to integrate course content, instrumentation of sport performance with real-world sports science applications by exploring the science of combine testing. Combine testing is very common. Where's the science behind it? Through this project, you will explore the science behind the use of a specific combine test. Additionally, you will detail a specific instrument that is used to assess the performance via the combine test. You'll engage with both empirical and applied perspectives, resulting in a presentation that reflects both scientific understanding and practical relevance. All right, so you're going to end up with a 3-minute presentation for a combine test. And think of it as I take that presentation and then I add it to a website that I have, which is collecting and organizing information relative to different combine tests. And your presentation would be the science of the vertical jump, the science of the horizontal jump, or what have you, whatever the test is that you decide to zero in on. Here's just an outline of how we're going to do this. We're going to build this project throughout the semester. You start by just looking at the different combine tests and trying to zero in on one that might be of interest to you. Then we go through some anecdotal information related to the test. We look at empirical information related to the test. We start trying to identify what instrument or instruments would be used to quantify performance in the test, and then ultimately pulling it together for the presentation. And so, but we'll do these step, little bits of information that ultimately get worked back into the final presentation. And I said put peer review here because you're each going to watch the other presentations of other students in the class, and you'll evaluate each other's project as well as your own project. Now, there's a lot of value in doing that because you learn what you liked about your presentation and where maybe you really stood out, but you can also learn where maybe you could have gone in a different direction, or you could add a different type of information or present it a little differently. So it's a real two-way street there that you get good feedback by evaluating someone else's. Now, I don't share feedback of any other students with other students. I use that information, I look at that. Just grading rubric, clarity and focus, using scientific literature, we'll talk more about that. Zeroing in on some key sports science concepts, explanation of an instrument that you're going to zero in on. Also, looking at the anecdotal information, then just, general flow of presentation, narrative quality, and just a good take-home message. The combine tests, this is not a complete list, but this is a good place to start. So 40-yard or 40-meter sprint, 5, 10, 5 shuttle, where you run back and forth, bench press, and I didn't put 1 RM there, but it could be a 1 RM, it could be an isometric, it could be a multiple rep, multiple set type of test, squat, vertical jump, horizontal broad jump, hand grip strength, isometric mid-thigh pull, Wingate test, or some other test. And these are all tests that we've already incorporated with a number of different combine tests we've done with different sport teams. And there's other ones too. But I'm going to leave that other there so that if you come across another combine test that you're really interested in, add it, okay? And that'll be good expansion of this list. Okay, so that's what we're shooting for the semester project. And again, we'll work on it throughout the semester. Every week we'll do a step of building. And before you know it, we'll have it done. All right, thanks everybody.